has been going on, and negotiations have been going on with the developer for about 18 months. These parcels include 11 different properties that are under contract and have the developer has site control with contract that will be purchased. And assuming this project will move forward, they will be demolished, and the construction for these units will begin. Part of the negotiations and part of what we did about a year ago, we had a community meeting on South Avenue in which we introduced the concept. The concept has changed a little bit with less units than what was proposed at that time. And this will have now 302 parking spaces within the locations. The developer will come up in a few minutes and will speak to the amenities. One of the things that we have found in reading a lot of the studies and looking at the various projects going on in Union County and other municipalities is that any development that is going to be built around the train stations will have to have a high level of amenities if we're going to attract the type of rents that we need for a development of this kind to be successful. In addition to that, you will hear today that in order for this project to be successful, we will need to consider a pilot agreement that has been talked about with the developer, and we have ready to present today some crucial numbers that are needed in order for this project to be able to be a success here. The project is approximately $50 million investment. It will generate approximately 300 temporary new jobs during the construction phase. It will generate 7 full-time jobs after the completion of the project. The developer, in addition to building the facility, has agreed to assist the city with the maintenance and upgrade of the Plainwood Square Park, which it will be right across the street from the project. In addition to that, obviously, we know that the Plainwood Square Park always has a lot of activities throughout the year, such as concerts and activities to promote the residents to come out. The developer has agreed to financially support those activities on an annual basis as long as the pilot agreement is in place. So the project itself will bring a lot of benefits to the community. It will definitely help us to bring all the developments that are much needed in the city of Plainfield. This will be one of the projects that has, as you will hear today, tremendous amount of amenities that will raise the bar for other projects to come into the city of Plainfield. We have found out that the projects such in Westfield, the Cranfords, Maplewood, South Orange, all these projects are successful because they provide a high level of luxury amenities for the residents. There is a component of security that is incorporated into the project. There is a component of community room. There's going to be a gymnasium. It's going to be a theater in this facility. Again, just to try to give the best amenities possible to this project. So at this point, I'm going to ask Mr. Joe Forgione to come forward. Joe is the principal and owner of JMF Development. He has over 2,000 units of residential luxury apartments throughout the state of New Jersey, including Maplewood, South Orange, and currently in process of building in Denver. So he has been around the block for a little bit. You can see it in his gray hair a little bit. So he has been around the block. And I'm going to ask him, Joe, if you can come up to the mic and give us a little bit more detail as to the amenities and what the overall project will look like.
Okay. For those,
We have more.
just, if you wouldn't mind. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
excuse me, yes, my name is Joe Forgione. I'm the founding principal of JMF Properties. We're located just outside of Morristown, New Jersey, in a town called Whitney. We've been, by way of background, I'm an graduate engineer turned developer about 25 years ago. And I've been building similar types of projects in the tri-state area, both for sale and for rent. We approached the city of Plainfield just about 2 years ago. We assembled about 11 properties and approached the town with a concept to build high-end residential rental units. For the obvious reasons that the train station exists in Plainfield. I often tell towns that it's an amenity that you just can't create. So the project consists of 2 buildings, 102 one-bedroom, 110 two-bedroom, total of 212 units. 2 buildings, 4-story. Both buildings will have garages and surface parking. What you're looking at today, right there in front of you, is the elevation of building 2. Essentially, building 2 and 1. Are almost identical. I wish I had the site plan. These are the exhibits that we used at our first planning board meeting in the town as an exhibit. Our next planning board meeting is on Thursday. So typically that's what the building's going to look like. The finishes of the building we presented in front of the planning board. They're a mixture of stone, brick, and some hardy panel and hardy plank. And we're going through the selection process right now to finish up the colors. Carlos started to touch on it a little bit. I'm just going to do this. It's actually a pretty good idea of what the site plan is going to look like. This is South Avenue to the bottom. Here's the existing park today. We're going to come in. We've assembled the 12 parcels of land. There are 2 that we assembled towards the rear that extended into the property, which faces the upper road. 2 buildings, identical, like you said. Difference is, in building 1, there's a portion of the building right here, which is about 4,200 square feet, which is going to hold the amenities. We'll get into that in one moment. But again, very, very similar in nature. The main entrance to both of the buildings are located sort of the center core of the building. This one's almost like a C, and this is like a shorter like C with the entrance here. Both lobbies will have a virtual doorman, which basically means you come up, you either put the apartment number or the person's name, and the camera comes up, the person in the apartment sees who it is, and then unlocks the door. However, like Carlos started to talk about, we did a study and we looked at all the competition in the area, and we felt that the competition was the Cranfords, the Scotch Plains, more importantly, the new job that's being built right now in Fanwood. And we looked at what they're building and compared to even Westfield, all the train stations, and we looked at what kind of product, sizes, unit mix, and the like. So we felt that what's missing in all those projects is lifestyle, and what we're trying to create is not just a destination, but a home. Someone to say that they're proud to live here. And in order to do that, you need mass. And once you break the 150 to 165 units, it gives you the ability to create more amenities. And that's what we try to do. We try to build a true lifestyle here. So in doing that, so like I said, the lobbies to the main entrance of the buildings are basically in the center of the building. This area right here, this little bump out, you'll see the different jogs here, is basically this enlarged, right? So this line right here is basically this line right here, okay? So we took this area, took this area here and I've enlarged it to show you the amenity space that we're putting in. This is the indoor amenity. So if you come into as you come into the vestibule, right here, to the right you're going to see a cyber cafe, high-speed internet. The majority of people today do a lot of work from home, especially the tech guys that don't have to be in the city or in an office. They do a lot more work from the house. It's very, very important to have an additional space outside of your unit to work. So what we've done here, and the new thing today, is to have these large conference room-like tables with the high-speed internet that actually you can plug right into it. So to the right, you're going to see an area which is for the cyber cafe. We have a kitchen, if you can see the way it's designed here. And this area right in here becomes the club room. This is a fireplace with seating, a pool table with high tables, an indoor-outdoor fireplace. We'll get there in a minute. And in this back area, we're proposing to have a theater. Okay? So today with Netflix and the like, it's all high speed, direct access to all the different social things that kids are doing today, and they're tying in to the web. And most people are not watching, everyone's watching on these iPads, but this gives you the ability to have a full screen. One of the things that we're working with right now, the architect, is that these walls will fold away. And if these walls fold away, this becomes a long area. For events like the Super Bowl, the World Cup, the Olympics, those kinds of things, that in main events, when a lot of people gather, you open up and that big screen just becomes an extension of the club room. Come back to the center entrance, you come down, and you'll see that we have a 2-office area, and that's a leasing office. Once the project is stabilized, the leasing office becomes a management office. There will be a full-time person 7 days a week that mans the office, and there also is going to be, on top of that, we're going to have a full-time super and with porters. I'll get to the reason for that. If you continue past the office, you come to a room that today what's going on with this Reiki and this yoga, it's a meditation room. And so we have a meditation room back in this corner. On the other side of the hallway, we have a women's and men's bathroom. Come back to the center hall. As you come in, the whole left side is going to be all glass, and you're going to be able to see through, again, the outer wall of the building as well. If you come into this fitness center, that we're going to call it, you come in, we're going to have cubicles and lockers. We're going to have a fitness center, which has some cardio machines, some bikes, we'll have weights, we'll have ellipticals, and we'll have treadmills in that area. So it'll be a full gym. This area right here is something called is a full yoga room, the hot yoga. So we've in that area just contemplated just for yoga. And then in this back corner, we have something called a virtual fitness center. What that means is today most people are using trainers. The thing today is spinning. Everyone's spinning. Everyone's doing SLTs, Barry's Boot Camp in New York, all these different gyms. No one's working out like we used to when we were young. You do it on your own. So everyone either has a trainer or they're doing some type of class. What virtual fitness is just that. It's there's a computer. If you come to the door and you say you want to do a half hour of cardio or an hour of cardio, or you want to lift weights or whatever other workout you're into, you're able to put that into this computer and the time you want and the type of workout you want, and right in this area, a screen comes up with a trainer. With the spinning, we show some spinning bikes here. What virtual fitness is doing today, it's bringing you directly live into a class. Right now, what's going on with Flywheel and Soul Cycle, it brings you live to that class. So you could be live from West Hollywood all the way to New York City, and you're live and they're spinning and you're spinning with them, and so is an instructor. And that's basically what the virtual fitness center is. If we come back to this area, which is the club room, again, I said the indoor-outdoor fireplace. The big thing today are fire pits and gathering areas. And so what we've done is, we don't like fire pits because you can't control them. So the way to control it we thought here was to have an indoor-outdoor fireplace with a pit in front of it. And this area here becomes all the outdoor seating. Again, if you take this area here and we enlarge it, that's basically what you're looking at. So you have the indoor-outdoor fireplace here, and you have this large outdoor seating area, and we actually show where these planters are and what they're going to look like, the benches are around the surrounding areas, and then these benches continue to follow the circle here. Okay. This grassed area here, we think is going to be used for outdoor yoga. That's a new thing too, as well. People on hot days want to be outside and they're doing the fitness, either whatever they are with the trainer, they're doing it outdoors. So we've also added this area here for outdoor fitness. You see pockets throughout the site of areas like this. Let me see if throughout the area, this is the main outdoor fitness area or the outdoor amenity space, but areas in all these different pockets, we have some kind of benching, outdoor areas for seating, and again, the Wi-Fi is going to be inside and outside for the residents. Okay?
Joe, would you be able to touch real quick, very quickly for the council members and for the public? There is always we discuss a safety issue, safety concern.
Right. Okay, so the pockets, and then we have the park here, and again, this is basically what it's going to look like. One more thing, we added a dog spa in the back. Basically, the buildings we allow pets, and the new thing today is a dog walk and an area where dogs can meet other dogs, and it's become a place where people meet people like the dogs meet dogs. They're building them all over the place. But what we've done here is, and you'll see the detail, we've added a water fountain, just like we have a water fountain outside to drink. We have a water fountain for the dogs that's always fresh, cold water. In addition to it, it's a fake, it's a dog wash. So there's an area here where instead of bringing your dog inside, if he's out on a muddy day, you bring him in the wash. So collectively, the outdoor seating, gathering areas, the fire pits, the indoor-outdoor fireplace, the dog walk, the dog spa, pretty much those are the amenities that we're building with the site. And you'll see up in this area, you'll see the lawn, you can see a fake fire hydrant. Hold on one second. So about this is not. I was hoping that Bill would use that with what. I got the number. I just want to get this out. Planner approached me about making some improvements to the park. We've reached out to two of the vendors along South Avenue. One that's been there a long time, and she told me it's the third generation of a Dairy Queen ice cream shop. And we got some feedback as to what she thought is needed there. And so what we've done, what I've given you out today, is a plan to make improvements to the park. Basically, this small area, that seating area, we're proposing to enlarge it, widen the sidewalks along the front of the park, remove and replace all the sidewalk along the other part of our frontage along South Avenue. Part of the improvements, what we've done is we've located the large trees. The improvement plan does not contemplate removing any large trees. It does contemplate removing all that overgrowth landscaping, installing new landscaping, installing new benches, walkways, and some low voltage lighting, which is in the enhances the existing landscaping and the proposed landscaping. And also what we've done is, in our site where we're proposing lighting, instead of having a single fixture, we've now added a double fixture, which now creates overhead lighting as well, creating a sense of safety, lighting up the park right now because it's not very well lit. Okay, the last thing that was brought up was the safety. The project will consist of all doors, all access doors will have a safe lock system. What that means is no one uses cards anymore, they use the fobs. That fob is a registered fob that goes to our central system that logs in when you came home and when you left. So that's one, for every access door to each unit. Every unit will have its own security alarm, and all units on the first floor will have motion detectors, and all of the windows will have transmitters. The second floor, they will have the motion detectors, but not the transmitters. The elevators will all be, have a camera. It will have the telephone with a 911. I talked to you about the main entrance as being virtual doorman. The access to the amenity space after hours will also have a fob entry, which will log in not only when you enter building 1, but also when you enter the amenity space in case someone were to slip and fall. Again, the virtual reality, virtual fitness, and the fitness center, the yoga, or the meditation.
Thank you, Joe. Council President, would be 2 seconds to bring our redevelopment council just to very quickly go over the overall pilot.
So I'll be very brief. There were 3 council actions that we would be asking with respect to this project, 2 of which we have proposed for action this evening initially. The first one, I think both Carlos and Joe talked about, which is the vacation of the Old South Avenue right-of-way. The second is the adoption of an ordinance authorizing the execution of a financial agreement, which grants the payment in lieu of taxes. It's a 30-year tax exemption and payment in lieu of taxes equal to 10% of annual gross revenue. There are statutory standard mandatory step-ups that happen beginning in year 13, in addition to increases in gross revenue that are a part of the project, a part of the pilot, and a part of the financial agreement. The last action, the third action we would be asking you to take, is with respect to a redevelopment agreement, authorizing the execution thereof. The redevelopment agreement allows us to transfer the portion of the vacated street to the project. It also includes the obligation, as Joe talked about, with respect to maintenance of the park and the improvements, other obligations with respect to transfers, defaults, first source obligations, other contractual obligations related to the project. So it's those 3 actions, 2 of which we were asking the council to consider.
Thank you.
And Council President and board members, again, the only thing that I have to add to that presentation is that I hate to be the one to say, but time is of the essence. The reason time is of the essence, again, Joe has is under contract to purchase the 11 properties involved. There is a time limit for him to be able to do that, and part of the 2 requests that we have asking the government body to consider is that he needs those financial agreement approved in order for him to be able to go to the banks and be able to obtain the financing. The financing for this project is all private money, which is composed of equity from the developer and banks. There is no subsidy from any of the state or federal agencies. It's all private investment in this project. So at this point, Council President, thank you so much for allowing us to make this presentation. And if you have any questions or anything, we will be more than glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.